Beautiful. Friends, I want you to consider, what does it mean to be bound up with and for one another? I want you to consider what it means to say that you belong to somebody and that someone belongs to you. I want you to consider what it means for us to say that we are inclusive. That God includes me, and God includes you, and God includes all of us. I want you to consider what it might mean for us to take a second look at this word covenant and ask what it's asking of us. What does it mean to be in covenant relationship with one another? And perhaps that's exactly what the world needs, is covenant. Covenant relationships. People who are there for one another, no matter what. Someone who has your back through it all. Someone who says, you know what? God includes you. So I'm including you as well. And I'm going to be here with you and for you, no matter what. When we come to Psalm 89, what we have is God's covenant, God's commitment, God's promise to be there for this person who's not named in the text. Now, we read through it today in our New Testament and Christian understanding and go, I'm pretty sure it's talking about Jesus Christ there. And that is true. And yet it goes even further than that. Christ is the fulfillment of this text. Christ is the end of the text, essentially. But there's a beginning and a middle. And that beginning and middle always includes you and me, friends. I want you to consider this text. I have found my servant David. I've anointed him. My hand shall always remain with him. My arm also shall strengthen him. The enemy, I'm not going to outwit him. I will crush his foes. And that sounds pretty violent, and that sounds pretty intense, right, friends? And yet, tell me you don't want someone who has your back just like that, right? When the stuff of life, we have another word for that. I'm not going to use it today, okay? When the stuff of life hits the fan, right? You want someone who goes, who needs some crushing today, right? Right? You want someone who's going to stand by your side and go, let me at him. I've got your back, right? It's Linda, right? Sean just said it's Linda. Yes, indeed, right? We all need a Linda right next to our side who's like, oh, let me at them right now, right? Can't believe they messed with my friend, right? Yeah, that's what this text here is after, friends. It's saying that God is that person. God is that being who has your back, who's going to be with you no matter what, who includes you, holds you, where you go, I belong to God. And when anything comes in my way in life, I've got this being, this God, this friend, this person who's like, I'm here for you no matter what. And what God is asking of you and I is not to just believe that, believing it's really important, but to also live into it, to embody it, to go, I want to become that person for other people. When I look around the world today, what I see is a lot of very loose relationships. And what I mean by that is we are a networking culture, right? And some of us are quite good at it. I'm quite a good networker, actually, right? I take a lot of pride that I'm a networker, right? But there's very few people that I'm networking with where I'm like, let me come stand next to you, and if anything tries to take you out, I'm coming at them, right? I'm good. We're good, right? Like, I'm not standing there for someone I'm networking with, right? No. That's a very loose association and relationship. And it's often quite transactional, isn't it? I get a little something from them, they get a little something from me. It all works out in the world. We do this business and life goes on, right? That's not friendship. That's not belonging. That's not inclusion. And it's certainly not covenant. Covenant is this bond where you grab a hold of someone else's arm and you look them in the eye and go, I'm in this with you. I've got your back. I'm holding on no matter what. I'm in the trenches with you. And come hell or high water. That's the kind of relationships that our world needs. When we say that we belong to one another, when we say that God includes me and God includes you and God includes all of us, that's not meant to be like, yeah, let's all just kind of spread out here and we'll all just sit in this nice little wonderful thing and kind of namaste one another from far away, right? No, it's me getting up in your space and going, I'm here with you through thick and thin. I'm going to stay even when it gets rough, even when it gets hard, even when you give up. I'm not giving up on you. That's covenant, friends. God in this text even goes that far. Like, even when you mess it all up, and yeah, there's going to be some stuff, and we're going to have some words, and it's not going to feel pretty, but I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to be in it with you. I'm not giving up on you no matter what. Because that's a covenant. That's a promise. That's a contract that is bound by blood. Bound by the blood of Jesus Christ. For each and every one of us. For the lives of every single human being who's ever lived and ever will be born. For every one of us. And God's hope for humanity from the very beginning is that not only would we see that and go, oh my goodness, I belong to God, but then for us to go, oh, I belong to all the people as well. And so if my belonging with God looks like this, then my belonging with one another has to look like this as well. So when we walk out into the world and we see people who are hurting, we can't just turn our backs on them. We go, I'm bound up in this. I've got to get into the trenches with them. I've got to come alongside of them in the midst of their pain and difficulty. And man, I don't have time for this. I don't have the energy for this. I certainly don't have the money for this, right? And yet, I'm bound to it. I've got to get in there. I can't have an excuse. I'm committed because God's committed to me and God's committed to that person, and thus I'm committed to that person. And so we're going to do something. I'm going to say, you know what? I don't know if you know this, Don, but God includes you. God includes me, so here we go. Let's be included together, right? Yeah. Even when I don't want to. Even when it's difficult. Even when that person messes up. Even when I mess it all up. And friends, that's the thing at the end of the day. I know why people mess things up. Because I'm a mess, right? And you're a mess, right? Yeah. And we're all a mess, right? Yeah, exactly. And God says, that's okay. I'm in the mess with you. And then God looks at us and goes, will you get into the mess with others? That's what it means to be covenant. to be this Presbyterian church that has this name, that has this label, that carries this with us every single place that we go. And if you're courageous enough, we'll actually say it to someone else. Hey, I bet you didn't know it, friend, but I'm in covenant relationship with you. And they're going to be like, whoa, right? And you're going to say, and this is what that means. God includes you. And God includes me. So God includes all of us. And because of that, I've got your back. Amen.